mysteries live within these ancient walls? Who is Robert Manning looking for? Why is he in danger? When will he find the hidden truth?
I am Lavinia, mother of the mysteries, keeper of the black secret.
Lavinia's influence has spanned the centuries.
It seems our Dr. DeMarco has succeeded in creating a subservient zombie. Police arriving at the scene reported several shots at point-blank range had no effect on the suspect.
This is the night when fear and horror walk hand in hand. Lush and lovely women, even though one is from the netherworld, a vampire, a Vurdalak. Black Sabbath, as ancient as superstition, as modern as the telephone.
You always did have a beautiful body. Beautiful. A body to drive someone crazy.
Black Sabbath, the bare truth about the unbelievable, such as the brilliant beauty of a priceless jewel that holds within the body of a buzzing fly a vengeful woman's murderous spirit.
Sinistre. Born 1588. Condemned for his barbaric crimes to be buried alive.
We obey without question.
Mark, what do you do?
I hope to be a director very soon.
Murder.
All this filming isn't healthy.
Mark?
Don't be shy.
These films you can't wait to look at.
Interest is in fear.
Have you gone crazy?
Yes.
Put that camera away!
Whatever I photograph, I always lose.
She's a monster.
We have a good supply of blood plasma with us. We'll use that to feed her.
And if we run out of plasma, Commander?
Ghostly legend was he caught up in? Who was the living link with Lavinia? Why was he tormented by these ghoulish nightmares?
Time!
When did this frightening fantasy become startling reality?
This is a very deep cut. Do you know, it looks as though you've been stabbed.
We're convinced that Dr. DeMarco has created an astral man with a defective brain.
This time we must not fail to remove the emotional characteristics. Our only hope of recovering our original creation is to be sure that this brain is a pure calculating machine. We will add this circuit to the memory bank until we can effect an exchange with the first astral man. One day we'll be able to fill the memory bank with the most brilliant minds in the world, preserved forever for the benefit of mankind, to call on them for their knowledge.
The living see the lifeless undead.
I am hungry.
Is he man or vampire?
Greetings, fiends, and welcome to the Horror Mike Show on this fine and fiendish Friday evening. I'm your host, Horror Mike, and if you hadn't noticed, we've gone all the way back to the 1960s, folks. Yes, you know, that acid from 68 is finally kicking in. Let me put it that way. Good Lord. And I bid you a fun, how do you do, and all that shit. In any case, I hope that your week went as well as mine. Let's just put it that way. It's been a hell of a week. It's been hot. Matter of fact, hot as hell. But it looks like it's going to cool off a little bit this weekend. And it's the end of August, folks. Guess what? Yeah, it's the South. It's the deep South here. I'm in Florida. And no hurricanes. What do you know? No hurricanes, folks. I'm still alive. Good Lord. Now, we are still in hurricane season, and we will be in hurricane season until October 1st. Okay, so I'm not out of the weeds yet. But typically speaking, hurricanes hit at the end of August. You can check your freaking history books on this. Usually the last few days in August, that's when they strike. Don't know why. Maybe they just came back from vacation. I don't know, but they just choose that particular time. But no, there's not even a tropical depression, folks, in the Gulf or in the Atlantic. It's like, over there in tsunami land, they've had a couple of incidents, but still pretty minor. So that's good. It's great news, folks. It's fantastic. And we're in the 60s. As you just saw, a little trailer series that I put together tonight. We have a young Dennis Hopper. We have a green Barbara Steele. We have Michael Goh and his sexy parties. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's true. It's on the agenda tonight, folks. Boris Karloff in a couple of movies. Of course, the 1960s, Boris Karloff was all over that period. I mean, this guy, we're talking about such a span of time in his career. But he was really busy in the 60s, and Mario Bava was a bit of the reason why, as we will see with Black Sabbath. Oh, one of my favorite horror anthology movies. And as you may have noticed at the very beginning of the show, my own horror anthology movie, strangely enough called Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1, is now on Amazon, folks. Oh, yeah, it's on Amazon. And most of it is what I would call sci-fi horror. Now, I don't know. It's one of those things that people can argue that point, but there are 6 episodes. Let's see it. Gotta be in here. There it is, right there. I was wondering what the hell happened to that damn link. Good Lord. Let me drop that link in the chat. Nurse, would you fetch me some of that lemonade? Nurse. There you go, folks. That is the link to Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1. Now for rent for a mere $2 on Amazon. It is 2 hours of wall-to-wall sci-fi horror entertainment with one supernaturally themed segment. So there you go, folks. That is Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1 from yours ghouly Horror Mike. In any case, folks, I hope you guys have had a good week. It's the weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, which I don't know about you dudes, but yeah, I'll be laboring all through the freaking weekend here. But he did leave a message for us. Hey, Mike, at the movies today, but we'll join later, Gator. Well, there you go. You heard it there from Radamus, folks. I guess he's going to join us later on the scene there. Wayne Butler is here. Hello, Wayne Butler. Good to see you. 1960s, this should be good. You bet your damn bippy. You bet your sweet bippy, Wayne Butler. If I may quote the whatever the hell that show was with, Rowan and Martin's laughing. There you go. Eric Boyd is here. Good Lord. Thomas Fairfall is here. Hello, Thomas. How you doing? Werewolf by Lunchtime is on the scene. 8-Bit is here. Hello, 8-Bit Snake Boy. Good Lord. Steve Harrison is here. Apex Comics is, yeah, that is very good. I Am One of Us is here. Good Lord. Hello, I Am One of Us. Good to see you. Wayne says, The Crimson Altar, I own a digital copy of that movie. Good one, Wayne, because that is one to have. And, of course, we are going to be covering that tonight with the lovely and green Barbara Steele, folks. Get ready for that. She's quite fetching. You know, it may not be easy being green unless you're Barbara Steele. Wayne says, Black Sabbath, a good anthology movie. I thought it was a lot better when Ozzy was with them, really. But it is pretty good. Steve says, watch the Tourist Werewolf. Great Aussie series. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Black Sabbath. There you go. Tura Satana, so unique and uniquely beautiful. Eric's got a crush, folks. Werewolf says, I will look into it, Steve. Queen of Blood, excellent classic, yes. And, of course, starring a young Dennis Hopper and a rather young John Saxon, folks, in that film. And it's kind of a creepy little classic, you know. I like it. It's weird. It's a weird film. We're going to be taking a closer look at that tonight. Kevin Hellon is here. Hello, Kevin, my good fiend. How are you doing, Seth? Apex says, I met John Saxon in Nashville Comics and Horror Convention in 2010. He was the first killer bot before Arnold in $6 Million Man. Well, there you go. If somebody could do a killer bot type of thing, it would be John Saxon. Lady, the phone calls are coming from inside your house. That's what I'm talking about right now. A little Black Christmas, folks. Steve Harrison, as a boy, Black Sabbath, the Ring Thief segment scared me silly. And you know who wrote that, Steve Harrison? You know who wrote that? That guy, Anton Chekhov. That was an old-ass story adapted from an Anton Chekhov story for Black Sabbath. Very cool. Wayne Butler, any movie Barbara Steele is in is a good movie. You got that right. Pretty much. Or at least 90% of the time. Eric says, that's awesome. Dude, love the Skull Cup. Thank you, Wayne. I'll show that off again, folks. I'm going to try to get let me see if I can bring it in 3D. Kind of like 3D House of Pancakes. There you go. It's a fine mug. Boris Karloff's last decade, he was actually, wasn't he in what was that weird ass movie, Frankenstein 1972 or something? I don't know. He was quite busy, though. 1960s, folks. Boris Karloff he did actually some of the best films he was ever in the 1960s, including Black Sabbath and Black Sunday, which we're going to look at tonight as well. My freaks and geeks. 8-Bit says, no hurricanes this week. Good news, Horror Mike. Yes. Targets. There it is, folks. Once again, you can rent it for a mere $2. That's 2 hours of wall-to-wall entertainment, your sci-fi horror type of entertainment with Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1. Karloff was also busy on TV with thriller and variety show appearances. Yes, he was. he was all over the place in the 60s. He really was. Talk about longevity, folks. That dude, we're talking a popular career that spanned, when I'm talking about, when you hit popularity, so people know your name, that's of course 1931, right? So the entire 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, he was hot as hell, really. He was just all over the freaking place. And of course, deservedly so. Because he was a really great actor. That's the thing about Boris. Good Lord. In the house, out of the house, using an outhouse. Pinot Noir in a cool skull cup. Barbara Steele duly noted. Good Lord. Do that thing that Eric suggests. Thriller dominated my son Saturday with the frisson of Fear, Steve Harrison, or Freezone, or whatever the fuck you say. Die Monster Die, folks. Die Monster Die. Can anybody name the original story that is based upon? I'll give you 5 seconds to look it up on Google. Who Asked Ollie is here. Hello, Holly. Great to see you. Thriller. It sure was. It was indeed. Good Lord. All right. Okay, guys. So, as you may have noticed, the background, you can see him. He's up. He's back. Look, it's close enough. It's freaking August 30th. It's Halloween season, folks. Skelly is up. As you can see, he's hanging out. That is the classic freaking skeleton. That's the whatever. What was that? The company is Beistel. Am I correct with that? Beistel. It's a Beistel skeleton, which is one of my. I had, of course, our family had one of these when I was a kid. That was the skeleton we had, and so I was glad to get a copy of it, and now it's hanging up on the bookshelf there, looking kind of snazzy, really. Okay, so in any case, Wayne Butler is absolutely correct. It was the Lovecraft story, The Color from Outer Space, or something like that. The color from up there. Shock. Or the Clower out of space. That's close enough. 8-bit. Color out of space, indeed. Now, that's another one that we might do as part of the Sci-Fi Horror Book of the Month Club. Because it has been adapted a few times now. At least 3 times to my knowledge. You got Die Monster Die, Defarb, The Color, which is a 2010 German film, which is extremely accurate to the novella. And, of course, The Color Out of Space, the 2020, I want to say about 2020 release starring Nicolas Cage, which is really good. That's the Richard Stanley directed film. I like it with a couple of reservations, but I thought they did a pretty, good overall adaptation of The Color Out of Space. And it's a great story. There ain't no doubt about it. Okay, well, here we go. Now, look, last week I also covered Kanopy. And, it's going to be the same this week because we do have a few. Let's see where we're at here. Here we go. I think that's correct. Yes, it is correct. Thank God. All right. We're back on Kanopy this is going to be a quickie, folks. I just want to show you that even though Kanopy doesn't have near the selection that Tubi has, they still have some great films. And keep in mind, they are uncut and they are commercial free, no ads, right? So if you have a library card, go over to Kanopy.com, put in that library card number, and if your library is connected to Kanopy, which mine is, it's easy peasy. You're in, man. And you can watch these commercial-free uncut films. Now, here's a few of their 1960s selections. A couple of these are not on Tubi, which is kind of groovy. I really dig this Christopher Lee flick, City of the Dead. I don't know if any of you have seen this. Let's check it out. I love the art, too. That's really cool. The key art. A young college student named Nan arrives in a sleepy Massachusetts town to research Lovecraft. Yes, to research Lovecraft's color out of space. To research witchcraft under the advisement of her professor, Alan Driscoll, Christopher Lee. During her stay at an eerie inn, Nan discovers a startling secret about the town and its inhabitants. The City of the Dead is both creeping and charming, says Sarah Dobbs of Sci-Fi Now. You can take that to the bank, folks. It is creepy and charming. I found the film creepy and rather charming at the same time. That's classic, but it's great. It is great. You can watch it on Kanopy with no commercials. And now, here's something, full disclosure on this, folks. Dementia 13, this is one of Francis Ford Coppola's first films. And it's really good. If you haven't seen Dementia 13, you should check it out. Great, great key art here, from the poster. Love it, love it. So, all right. As it says, this is pretty funny. Directed by Oscar-winning filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, comes one of his very first feature films. In Dementia 13, we follow Louise Halloran, who is left widowed after her husband suddenly dies of a heart attack. Worried she will not be able to claim any of her husband's inheritance, she convinces his family he is away on a business trip and joins them at their castle estate on an isolated Irish island. The family is gathered in remembrance of the 7th-year anniversary of their daughter's death, and Louise is about to find out that the Halloran family has a morbid way of mourning their dead. Now, basically what happened is that Francis Ford Coppola was working for Roger Corman. They were in Europe. They finished the film. And Roger Corman gave Francis Ford Coppola like $5 to make a movie. Said, hey, go make a movie. And so Francis Ford Coppola went and made Dementia 13 while in Europe. And it is quite a great, very low budget flick. Highly recommended. Currently, it is on Kanopy, obviously in English. Now, Dementia 13 is on Tubi. It is the Spanish language version. They do not have the English version. At least the last time I looked, they only have the Spanish version. But you can watch the English version on Kanopy, folks. Black Sabbath, yes, we are going to talk about this again a little later. But this is also on Kanopy. And it's just one of my favorite horror anthologies. We'll talk about that in a bit. Man with the X-Ray Eyes is not on Tubi, as far as I know. I think it was on Tubi, but they took it off. Excellent film. What can be said, man? Ray Milland just kicking butt here in this 1963 flick. Highly recommended. Dare to look into the eyes of madness when the brilliant Dr. Xavier concocts a serum to improve human sight. He stumbles upon a formula for X-ray vision. You know those X-ray specs, folks? Yes. There's plenty of that in this film. It's hilarious. Inspired by its medical potential, but shunned by the short-sighted colleagues, the doctor tests the potion on himself only to discover that his ability to see through walls, clothing, and flesh is slowly eclipsed by an insatiable desire to look still further, even if it means seeing more than any mortal can bear. There you go, folks. Highly recommended. The Man with the X-Ray Eyes. Blood Feast is also on Tubi, along with about 5 other Herschel Gordon Lewis films. If you like blood that looks like red paint, Blood Feast is your movie, okay, with bad severed limb special effects. And another Corman flick, The Terror, of course, young Jack Nicholson. Now, I'm not sure if this is on Tubi or not. It's pretty good. I think it kind of meanders a bit. As it says, in The Terror, the incomparable Jack Nicholson, in one of his earliest leading roles, plays Lieutenant de Valier, a soldier in Napoleon's army. After separating from the rest of his unit and becoming lost, he catches sight of Helen, a beautiful woman walking alone along the Baltic Sea. Then, of course, all hell breaks loose. That is The Terror, directed by the one and only Roger Corman, starring Jack Nicholson and Boris Karloff. Boris Karloff, folks, he's in 2 of these freaking flicks right here, Black Sabbath and The Terror. It's quite nice indeed. So we got that. Now, let me go ahead and mosey on over to Tubus. Where the hell are God? It's gonna be a weird trip down the 60s lane, folks, because there's some weird flicks, and there's some probably some weird 60s films that you've forgotten about, maybe by choice. I don't know. But let me just remove that for a second. Stop that screen. I'm going to go to the Tubi screen. Oh, yeah. I got to go to the Tubi screen. There we go. That is just beautiful. Look at that lineup, folks. As we begin our kickoff, as we kick off into the 1960s sci-fi horror and sci-fi horror zone, we got Curse of the Crimson Altar, Pit and the Pendulum, another Corman Vincent Price, huge in the 60s as well. And of course, then we got the Astro Zombies, a little Tura Satana for you. Yeah. A little of that Tura Satana action. Oh, God, yes. But before we dive in, let's take a look at the chat, shall we? A few people have chimed in. Aiden says, of course, the curse back before Will Wheaton was insufferable. Yeah, he's an insufferable twat now, I'll tell you. Wayne Ball says City of the Dead, a.k.a. Horror Hotel, with Christopher Lee. The woman who plays the witch is beautiful. You are correct, Wayne Butler. I like the movie. It's a strange, very atmospheric, creepy type of film, and it's kind of charming. 8-Bit says, I love The Man with the X-Ray Eyes. It's amazing. It's a great film, man. And what casting. Perfect casting with Ray Milland. I mean, geez Louise. Absolutely. Let me take a look at something real quick, folks. I just want to. You're right. I just wanted to confirm that, of course, that is Roger Corman directed The Man with the X-Ray Eyes as well. Corman, of course, is going to be all over the 1950s and 60s, folks. We're looking at Corman right here with The Pit and the Pendulum, but I think The Man with the X-Ray Eyes is one of his great movies. Truly just an incredible piece of sci-fi horror. City of the Dead, really good one. Oh, yeah. What a combo. Creepy yet charming. Yes. That's what I'm... Horrifying yet delightful. I don't know. Kevin says Francis Ford Coppola's directorial debut, Dimension 13, scared the shite out of me, young Kevin. Yes, it's a great one. I just dig the hell out of that film. Kanopy they have a great collection of movies. They really do, folks, and no commercials over there. Apex says, I love the painted movie poster work on many of these horror films. Yeah, and this was a staple, of course, especially with the certain type of art that was used. Now, there was, as you can see on the screen, they would use photo montage, type of work, or just artwork outright, but always with a lot of really hardcore colors, primary colors, etc. And I love that stuff. This was huge in the 50s and 60s, and just some of the best movie posters. Now you just got some of the most mediocre, bullshit looking posters, key art for movies. It's so boring now. I mean, can I get an amen on that, folks? Because it is just, they all look the fucking same. In the first place, they all look the same. It is. I should take you on a mini tour of Tubi, and show you like 10 films that have been made in the last 10 years. Their posters. You'd be like, God, they look all the same. It's the same exact strategy and layout. Yeah, because they're all a bunch of mediocre twats. That's why. In any case, Wayne Butler says the movie Blood Feast is crazy. I love when the man says, have you ever had an Egyptian feast? Oh, the eyebrows, Wayne Butler. I want to say Wizard of Gore. Dimension 13 on DVD, that's a good one to have on physical media, 8-bit. Hopefully that's the only Dimension I get my hands on. The Terror is excellent. I own it. Yeah, it's good. It wanders a bit, in my opinion. I think it's got some, it kind of waxes and wanes. The Terror is early Jack Nicholson, indeed. The Raven with Vincent Price and Boris Karloff. Peter Lorre. Now you're getting all over the place. Coppola was $5. Yeah, but $5 is like $3 million now, Apex. The Haunted Palace, one of my favorites. That is a great one. I own a digital copy of the Astro Zombies. That movie is hilarious. It is rather hilarious. There's some funny stuff in it. Yes. I really dig the poster art for Astro Zombies movie. That is a fantastic bit of key art right there for the Astro Zombies. There ain't no doubt about it. Dave James is here. Hello, Dave James. Excellent Bauhaus song. Fantastic. I am one of us says amen to the shitty posters. What the hell? I am one of us. Oh yeah, to the yes. They really are. They're just, maybe I should show them to you now so you see what I'm talking about, guys. But modern, especially modern horror posters, all look the same. In other words, crap. It is unfreaking believable how bad they look. 8-Bit says, by the way, BFI are celebrating 70 years of Them, which was released this month here in the UK. Yes, and we're going to be covering Them in a few weeks, 8-Bit, when we hit the 1950s. Of course, one of the great sci-fi horror films possibly ever made. I might put it in the top 20. It's just got such great atmosphere. and a sense of dread to it that is, it's fantastic, you know. And look, they did what they could with the ants for the time. I think it looked pretty damn good, you know, with the giant ants and everything. But the screenplay, the acting, the direction, the mood, the setup of them is so hardcore. It's so good. It's so creepy. Though, I mean, it's like 30 minutes, 40 minutes into the film before you even see an ant. The entire first part of that film, or almost the first half of that film, you don't see an ant. And it is really intense. That's the great thing about them. I just love that film. One of my favorite. The 50s produced some of the greatest science fiction films undeniably ever made. To this day, that's all. I mean, who the fuck is going to challenge Forbidden Planet, for Christ's sake? Nobody. I know. Sorry, you know, but no, that ain't gonna freaking happen. In any case, and we will, of course, be covering Forbidden Planet as well. Oh yes, them is freaking awesome. No, no, Wayne. It's a great movie for all time, not just its time. It beats the shit out of most science fiction films today. Okay, I'd rather watch them than Dune. Let me just give you a little clue on that one. All right, Adamus is here. He's back. He's alive. Good Lord. Steve Harrison says the Black Sabbath poster was amazing. I remember the severed head on a pole and how it incorporated all episodes into it. Yes. And it's just such a great part of the trailer. All right, guys. We're launching. That's it. We're here. We're at the great look. I had to start off with Curse of the Crimson Altar because it's such a batshit crazy film, really. It's got, look, here's one theme that we're going to cover tonight. It's in a few of these movies, and that is 1960s sexy parties, and some of them starring Michael Gough. Okay. You might feel like, Horror Mike, have you just completely lost your fucking mind? Yes, I have lost my mind, but that's beside the point, my good fiends. The Michael Gough sexy parties, wait until next week. I'm going to drop a video on my channel. You guys are going to, I think you're going to dig it. Or maybe not. But that was a big thing. Okay, let me explain this. Curse of the Crimson Altar, Castle of the Creeping Flesh, and what was the other one? Let me just check that real quick. There's three of them here. Castle of the Creeping Flesh and Devils of Darkness. All three of these films have sexy parties. It's hilarious, man. I mean, I don't know what happened, but they were like, hey, look, man. The kids, they're all like, they're dropping acid. And they're having these sexy parties. So we need to put some sexy parties in these movies. And they did. And Michael Gough just happens to be kind of, I don't know, inadvertently involved in said sexy party in Curse of the Crimson Altar. Starring Christopher Lee, Boris Karloff, Michael Gough, and the Green Barbara Steele. Oh, good Lord, yes. Green Barbara Steele. 1968, folks. Good Lord. In search of his missing brother, Robert Manning is led to a remote country house that he believes may be tied to the legend of the Black Witch. Okay, now look. Here's the thing. I like Curse of the Crimson Altar for the most part. There are a couple of scenes that are just kind of goofy as hell. But otherwise, I do like it. And it's weird. It's different. There's no doubt about that, folks. It's just a different kind of film. And it's got a really great sexy party in it. Okay. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you right now. Now, the one thing about Curse of the Crimson Altar, it's also known as the Crimson Cult. And so what you're going to see right now is a trailer for the Crimson Cult, simply because it looked better than Curse of the Crimson Altar trailer. But it's pretty groovy.
The Crimson Cult. Hedonists of horror.
The devil is not exactly noted for his sense of humor.
A servant of man and the devil.
My brother stayed here, didn't he? What happened, sir? Tell me what happened to him!
Dead. A journey into the unknown terrors of the world of black magic.
But we all know the subconscious mind can play strange, sometimes terrifying tricks. The living bridge between this world and the unknown.
Burn the witch! Burn the witch! Boris Karloff in his last and most diabolic role.
Yeah, the cinematography is very good. I love the lighting, the colors, everything. It's an interesting story. The biggest problem I have with Curse of the Crimson Altar or the Crimson Cult is the ending. I just thought I don't know what the hell happened. They just kind of end. It just has not a good ending. Yes, it's a climax, it's an ending, but it just doesn't have the power or the weirdness that it should have had, because this movie is kind of strange, right? But they just kind of went for a very high concept kind of ending for Curse of the Crimson Altar. And that's my biggest complaint. Otherwise, I highly recommend it. It's really quite good. And Michael Gough and sexy parties. Yes, really. Oh, yes. Get ready for a video next week, folks. It's going to be the 1960s sexy horror parties video. I think it's going to be a freaking pip. It's going to be a pip. All right. Next up, Roger Corman strikes in the 1960s with a very good. I mean, look, it's all of his Edgar Allan Poe adaptations are kind of on the loose side, or they combine a couple of different stories. I understand that because, of course, a lot of the Edgar Allan Poe stories are very short, like 10 or 15 pages, right? So what are you going to do? Well, you might combine a few. Famously, he did that with Mask of the Red Death. I really like this film a lot. Of course, the acting is quite good. You got Anthony Carbone, Vincent Price, Barbara Steele in this, directed by Roger Corman. In 16th century Spain, a deranged man believes that the ghost of his wife is haunting the castle after he learns that she was buried alive. Premature burial. There's a bit of that. And of course, there's also a Corman film called Premature Burial. If you haven't checked out any of the Corman directed Edgar Allan Poe adaptations, you really should. They're quite good. I recommend Pit and the Pendulum, Mask of the Red Death, Premature Burial, Tomb of Ligeia is also quite good. I love The Raven for its hilarity. Oh my God, Peter Lorre, man, in a comedy of terrors is hilarious. Oh my God. I mean, Basil Rathbone, Peter Lorre, the comedy, the comedic timing of these guys is really quite exceptional. And we'll be hitting some of that too later in the 1960s series. Right now, we're going to take a little look at Tura Satana with Astro Zombies. Oh, yes, from 1968 again. It's sci-fi horror at its lowest budget. Directed by, of course, Ted V. Michaels. God, I remember seeing some Ted V. Michaels films, folks, at the drive-in, including his classic $6,000 budget film, The Corpse Grinders. Remember that one? Oh, yeah, The Corpse Grinders. What a steaming pile. But, hey, look, what are you going to do with $6,000? That's what I'm saying. And it got at least the drive-in theatrical release across the freaking nation. So you got to hand it to them. But in any case, we've got the Astro Zombies here from 1968. As luck would have it, a mad doctor's humanoid robots cobbled together from the body parts of innocent victims get loose and go on a killing spree. Oh, yes, John Carradine is also in this film, along with Joan Patrick and Tura Satana. Oh, good Lord, folks. Good Lord. That's all I got to say. And naturally speaking, here, I've got a little trailer for y'all.
What we discuss here, gentlemen, must remain in the confines of this room.
It is done, Francho.
It seems our Dr. DeMarco has succeeded in creating a subservient zombie. Police arriving at the scene reported several shots at point-blank range had no effect on the suspect.
We're convinced that Dr. DeMarco has created an astral man with a defective brain.
This time we must not fail to remove the emotional characteristics. Our only hope of recovering our original creation is to be sure that this brain is a pure calculating machine.
We will add this circuit to the memory bank until we can effect an exchange with the first Astro Man. One day we'll be able to fill the memory bank with the most brilliant minds in the world, preserved forever for the benefit of mankind, to call on them for their knowledge.
There you go, folks. That is the trailer, or one of the trailers, to the Astro Zombies, directed by Ted V. Michaels, starring Tura Satana. Oh, yes, folks. That is just, she's worth the price of admission alone, in my opinion, on that one. She was just one of the great, how would you say, femme fatale bitches of the 1960s, Tura Satana. Next up, we have Castle of the Creeping Flesh. Folks, you got to, look, if you want a really great delivery of fine TNA with sexy parties, you got to check out Castle of the Creeping Flesh. It's once again, it's a weird ass fucking movie. And yes, it does have some slow parts. Once again, it's 1968. I don't know. There was a lot of acid being dropped in 1968, folks. That's all I'm saying. As we look at these films from 1968, it can be the only explanation. All right. As it says, in need of body parts to revive his dead daughter, a mad scientist's problem is solved when a group of drunken partygoers stumble into his castle, fresh from a sexy 60s party. That's what I'm saying. And they don't waste any time, folks. It's a immediate TNA delivery with Castle of the Creeping Flesh. And throughout the film, you just get some grade A Euro TNA. Okay? Look, I don't know if they didn't have the TNA factor and the sexy party type of thing, yeah, I don't know if I would watch this film or bother watching it again, but I'll probably end up watching it again. Let's put it that way, because of those aspects, those qualities of Castle of the Creeping Flesh. Next up, we got Devils of Darkness, which is actually a pretty good film. I like this film. It's very well photographed. That's one thing. We go back to 1965. In a French graveyard, Satanists perform an unspeakable ceremony to raise the dead vampire Lord Count Sinestre. Oh, yes, old Count Sinestre. This one starring William Sylvester and Hubert Noel, as well as Diana Decker and Carol Gray, if you know what I'm saying. There is some, there's some kind of sexy action going on with Devils of Darkness. However, and there is a sexy party, folks. Yes, you have yet another sexy party in Devils of Darkness. I don't think it quite rivals Castle of the Living Flesh sexy party or Curse of the Crimson Altar sexy party. But there is a sexy party sequence in Devils of Darkness, and it's got a few pluses. Let's put it that way. Not only that, folks, but I think hold on. I'm pretty sure I have or maybe I don't. No, I do. Here's a little trailer for it.
Count Sinistre, born 1588, condemned for his barbaric crimes to be buried alive. Because thine eye be evil, thy whole body be full of darkness.
Well, look, Inspector, I've told you everything I know.
Magic and the supernatural? Treasury of witchcraft?
Oh, Master, we are your slaves. We obey without question.
It is too late. Sinistre, the devil of darkness.
There you go, folks. That's the Devils of Darkness. Definitely worth seeing, in my opinion. I largely enjoyed it. Once again, it does have some rather tedious moments to it, put it that way. But the cinematography is pretty damn decent, and it's got a pretty good sexy party, as you may have seen the scantily clad woman dancing with the snake. That is part of it right there, folks. So, Devils of Darkness, indeed. And, well, What he said. Here we come to the classic, one of the greats that are, I mean, let's put it this way. I'd say one of the greats of public domaindom, and that is the Brainiac. Yes, he's a Brainiac on the dance floor, and he's killing like he's never killed before. 1962 sci-fi horror film. As it says, a 17th century Mexican baron who was burned alive for crimes of the occult comes back 300 years later in a most unexpected and hungry way. Yes, folks, that's what we're talking about. He's that 9-inch tongue devil that the women love. Okay? Gene Simmons, hold my beer. Okay? It's the Brainiac. That's what we're talking about right there. I mean, holy Toledo, folks. I do love that key art too. That's pretty nice. We're going to move on up to a little more sci-fi horror here. There we go. I'm going to go back to the chat and see what the hell's going on with the chat now. I have no freaking idea. Jesus God. Where the hell are we? Well, let's just start here. Sexy party in X-ray eyes. He watches the gals dance around. Yeah, you see the undies. Oh my God. Look, the 60s was an era of sexy parties, folks. In movies. In genre movies. That's just all there is to it. Wayne says, one of my personal favorites is the vampire woman versus the werewolf. I think that's on Tubi, too. Sexy 60s parties, we need more of them. And you're getting them. Look, do yourself a favor, Apex. Watch the Curse of the Crimson Altar, Devils of Darkness, and whatever the hell that other movie was that I mentioned that had the sexy party in it. Oh, yeah, Castle of the Creeping Flesh. Watch all three of those back to back, and you will get sexy party saturation. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. The Brides of Dracula. Radama says, hey, Mike, I'm reading The Shadow over Innsmouth in manga form by Gal Tanabe. Yep, the art is chilling. Highly recommend it. Yeah, I've been watching the animation, Radamus. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's the Gal Tanabe art in combination with, who the hell is the narrator? I want to say Wayne June. It's one of those guys. Conrad Feininger narration, put together by Matthew, M.S. Matthew. It's on YouTube. I think they're on part 4 now. It's really great. Who asked Holly says, okay, I've been warned. Lol, Smexy Acid movie. It's Smexy Acid movie. Talk about some TNA. Should see The Virgin Witch. I love your Star Crash video this week, Horror Mike. I know it's off topic, but Carolyn Monroe, for goodness sake, folks. Yeah, that one went through the roof, 8-bit, and it's still going. It's climbing. It's gone over 40,000, I think. 40,000 views. That was quite a big one. Which is quite nice indeed. You know, I love when that happens. And of course, Star Crash, man. It's not only Caroline Monroe, but it's also the sweet Nadia Cassini. Oh yeah, as the queen in Star Crash. Cult parties charming. Every victim violated. Isn't that a bit redundant, folks? The celestial toy maker Michael Go. Also owner of Conga. Yep. Tomb of Lygia, Pit and the Pendulum, Mask of the Red Death, and a lovely box set. Nice. Good one, 8-Bit. I like that. I like it a lot. Yes, Carradine was kind of slumming it, but he got a lot of work. Let's put it that way, folks. He was in some really incredibly low-grade films in the 60s, but, well, hey, at least he got work. Let's put it that way. Kevin says, why is it innocent victims? What happened to the guilty victims? Yeah, or the nominally sinful victims. Yeah, that's exactly, Kevin. I think you posed a very decent question that deserves a damn answer. One that we're probably not going to get tonight. PBR Street Gang is here. Hello, PBR. Great to see you. My good freaking man. I was dropped in 1968 along with a lot of acid. That might explain a few things, 8-Bit. Just kidding, of course. Or am I? Steve says, I was dropped in 57 with shark fins. There you go. Apex says, John Carradine was a second season episode of Land of the Giants, retired horror actor. There you go. Carradine was great in Grapes of Wrath and played Dracula a few times. Yeah, he was great in Grapes of Wrath. I totally concur. That dude was in a billion fucking movies, I'll tell you. Kevin, Land of the Giants. Night Gallery. It's not bad. Yeah, it's, as I say, it looks good. The cinematography is good. It just has some really lame, meandering sequences. Let's put it that way. That's pretty much the way I call it. Can't forget Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. The wind-up robot, yes. That is quite nice. I just, it's one of those. I love it, man. Cheap effects that, well, I don't know. They're cheap effects. Time tunnel. Not even Blaisdell could have saved the Brainiac. I'd be hungry too. A lot. There you go. David Edison, Richard Basehart. Fantastic, Dave James. Excellent. Dave James, I don't know who's doing the narration on that, but I highly recommend the Conrad Feininger or the Wayne June narration of Innsmouth. Really top-notch stuff. 8-Bit says, I spy another Michael Gough flick. They came from beyond space. Yeah, it is very freaking forgettable. And we're going to go through that one real quick. Wayne says, I own a digital copy of Star Crash. I like that movie. I like the movie by Luigi Cosi. And Luigi got me making a movie with the Caroline Monroe. Comedy of Terrors is freaking awesome. or evil people taste bad. There we go. I don't know. I don't know who seems voyage to the bottom of the sea. How does it? I don't know how the hell it goes. It wasn't me. I'll tell you that much. All right, guys, look. We're on the third tier here. And as you can see, we've arrived at Queen of Blood, starring John Saxon, Basil Rathbone. Oh, yeah, he's in this. Dennis Hopper, a young Dennis Hopper in Queen of Blood. A tidy little sci-fi horror film from 1966. A rescue team from Earth flies out to help the survivors of a crash on Mars. Unaware the aliens involved in the crash have a thirst for blood. Hey, come on, you know. Some people like pizza, some people like blood. I don't know. But in any case, directed by Curtis Harrington, folks. That is Queen of Blood. And naturally, I have to have a trailer for this one. And you will see a young Dennis Hopper and John Saxon. Check this out.
Queen of Blood. A tantalizing, mystifying enigma.
She's gorged herself of fresh blood.
She's a monster.
We have a good supply of blood plasma with us. We'll use that to feed her.
And if we run out of plasma, Commander?
It's a galaxy of gore, folks. Queen of Blood. Yes, she's rather repulsive, yet rather tantalizing at the same time. Queen of Blood. And if you've seen it, you'll know it. At the very end, who makes a certain cameo appearance at the very end of Queen of Blood? Who is it? Very famous person. Let's see if somebody in our studio audience knows who I'm talking about. Who makes a very conspicuous appearance at the end of Queen of Blood. I'll just say Famous Monsters of Filmland, Vampirella. Is that giving you a clue? Okay, nobody knows. Yes, it's Forrest Ackerman. Forrest Ackerman appears at the end of Queen of Blood as one of the scientists. There you go. I mean, that is another reason to watch Queen of Blood, surely, for the great Forrest Ackerman cameo appearance. All right, now look, folks. I don't know about this next film, Planets Again. It's at first it says Planets Around Us, but of course on the poster it says Planets Against Us. They need to make up their minds. Okay, that's what I'm saying right now. They're either around us or they're against us, or they're around us and they're against us. too bad they weren't with us. But in any case, Planets Around Us or Against Us from 1962. An alien race cloned cyborgs to look like a famous scientist's son, killed when he arrived on their planet to ready an invasion of Earth. And that's about all you really need to know about that, folks. I haven't seen it. I don't plan on watching it. They Came from Beyond Space, I've seen. And I think a few of you have seen this film. It's now under release by Red Rocket Media on Tubi from 1967. When scientists investigating a strange meteor shower succumb to an alien force, it's up to a lone immune astronomer to stop spreading the plague. There you go, folks. Yeah, it's really crap. That's all there is to it. With fairly good poster art. You may have noticed that. Some buxom aliens right there on the poster. The key art. That's the best part about They Came from Beyond Space. Okay? That's what I'm saying right now. But we move out from the crap zone into the fine cinema zone. Oh, yeah, folks. Check that combo out. Good Lord. Black Sabbath, Black Sunday, and Peeping Tom. Woo! Now that is a triple threat right there. Let's just put it that way. Get back to the chat real quick. Okay. There we go. Radamus says, I'll watch anything with Nadia Cassini in it. I agree, Radamus. That is a quite a nice thing there. Oh, lots of backroom shenanigans in Star Crash film. Oh, yeah, Radamus. Lots of crazy Italian shenanigans. Hey, it's Luigi Cosi. What do you want? Wayne says, Queen of Blood is an excellent science fiction movie, along with Planet of the Vampires. Planet of the Vampires is 10 times better than Queen of Blood. Okay? Mario Bava just knocked it out of the park. Planet of the Vampires is one creepy, weird, freaking sci-fi horror film, folks. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I am going to be covering it during the 60s series. So, it is not on Tubi. Sadly. Damn them for not having that. Frankie Avalon song, Voice of the Bottom Sea. Oh my God, I could just see it right now. Barbara Eden, Peter Lorre. Planet of the Vampires is great. Yeah, freaking awesome. And weird and wonderful. I would love to put the original black and white science fiction classic, Not of This Earth. We're going to be covering that one, Wayne. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there in the 60s. Wait a second, Not of This Earth. Wasn't that 59? Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Yeah, it's 1957, Wayne. When we hit the 50s, we'll be covering that film. We're in the 60s now, okay? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Black Sabbath and Black Sunday. Fan-freaking-tastic. All right, folks. Yeah, Black Sabbath. It is truly one of the best horror anthology films I think ever made, really. It's Mario Bava. It's peak Bava, all right? And Black Sunday as well, as I would call that peak Bava. There ain't no doubt about that. Well, let's take a closer look at Black Sabbath. And Boris Karloff is just freaking great in this movie. He's so creepy. In the Vertilac segment of this film. A trio of horror stories follow a stalked sex worker, a vampire-like monster who preys on his family, and a nurse haunted by her ring's rightful owner. The last story of which was written originally by Anton Chekhov. In any case, naturally, for Black Sabbath, I've got a little trailer somewhere. I don't know where the fuck it is. Oh, there it is right there. Check out this trailer for Black Sabbath, folks.
Do you believe in ghosts?
This is the night when fear and horror walk hand in hand.
This is Black Sabbath.
Starring the incomparable Boris Karloff, the personable Mark Damon, and lush and lovely women, even though one is from the netherworld, a vampire, a Vertilac. Black Sabbath, as ancient as superstition, as modern as the telephone.
How nice you look with that towel around you. You always did have a beautiful body. Beautiful. A body to drive someone crazy.
Who are you? Who?
Black Sabbath, the bare truth about the unbelievable, such as the brilliant beauty of a priceless jewel that holds within the body of a buzzing fly a vengeful woman's murderous spirit. Only on the seventh night of the seventh full moon can the living see the lifeless undead.
I am hungry.
Is he man or vampire? An adventure into black magic that goes beyond the boundaries of the supernatural. And a man's devoted love is welcomed by a woman's deadly lust for his blood.
Lovely. Black Sabbath, folks. If you haven't, for some reason, if you haven't seen this film, you need to watch it. There ain't no doubt about it. Now, it's on Kanopy and it's on Tubi. And it's probably everywhere else. It's probably on YouTube. Okay? You got to check it out. It is a great horror anthology film. All three of the segments deliver. Okay? There's just, there's no weak one in the bunch. They're all quite good. Just superior stories and acting. Very good. All across the board. Highly recommended Black Sabbath. Next up, Mario Bava. He's hitting it again. Oh, yeah, Bava was so hot in the 60s. Holy Toledo. And Barbara Steele. Barbara Steele is with us once again, folks. As a vengeful witch and her servant return from the grave and begin a bloody campaign to possess the body of the witch's beautiful look-alike descendant. Oh, yes. Barbara Steele, John Richardson. And this directed by Mario Bava. Fantastic. Black Sunday, highly recommended. If you have not seen it, watch. That would be a great double feature. Black Sunday and Black Sabbath. Just excellent films from Mario Bava. I think this might have been like, this could have been his high point. It's possible. He made some other great flicks, but the 60s, I think he was just cooking on all cylinders and made some of the great films. Planet of the Vampires, we're going to check out in a future, probably maybe next, well, I don't know about next week, but the week after, possibly. I don't know. We are going to cover it, though. Unfortunately, it's not on Tubi or Kanopy, so that kind of sucks. But moving on, of course, we got to talk about Peeping Tom, the most talked about film of the year, suitable only for adults. Oh, yeah, that's what it says right here. As it says, a repressed young man obsesses over the effects of terror. His instincts are fulfilled when he murders women and films their dying expressions. It's a queasy little flick, folks. Directed by Michael Powell. Peeping Tom, exceptionally well photographed. Really, just a very well done film. Well produced, well acted, queasy as hell, in my opinion. But of course, I have to have a trailer for Peeping Tom, and this is actually pretty good. This is from the I think this is from the 4K remaster trailer. Check it out.
Mark, what do you do?
I work in a film studio. I hope to be a director very soon.
Going on here?
Murder.
All this filming isn't healthy. Mark?
Don't be shy.
What are these films you can't wait to look at?
My interest is in fear.
Have you gone crazy?
Yes.
Put that camera away!
Whatever I photograph, I always lose.
There we go, folks. A little trailer, and that wasn't indeed from the remaster from Studio Canal of Peeping Tom. I mean, look, I've seen it a couple of times. It's not particularly my cup of tea. I do gravitate more towards the science fiction, sci-fi horror, and supernatural horror stuff. But it's well done. A good film. Let's get back to the comments, back to the chat, and see what the hell is going on in Chatland. Okay, I gotta put on my freaking glasses, man. It's killing me. There we go. Wayne says, I would love to put the original black and white science fiction class. Oh, yeah, okay, we did that. That was one of the last ones. Planets Against Us looks like a dubbed Italian flick. Okay, at your own peril. Both classics, indeed. Okay, we did that. We also did that. Come, Fraulein, let vampire Boris suck your blood. Who asked Holly says, I love the acting and visual effects. Can't wait for the 50s review. Yes, the 50s is going to cover 2 or 3 shows, at least, folks. There's a lot of stuff, mainly science fiction, of course. It wasn't nearly as good for horror in the 1950s, but science fiction was over the top. That old woman in bed in Black Sabbath is nightmare fuel. Yes. And when I was a kid, that gave me freaking nightmares, Dave James. I'll tell you that much. 50s peak sci-fi, you got it. I always thought Karloff played that part. Then I realized it was a sculpted figure. When I saw, what? Karloff played what part? Huh? What are you talking about, Steve? Expound, please. Wayne says, you know, you got to put the long hair of death on this list. The long hair of death. I don't know if I have to put that on there, but I'll check into it. I think long hair of death may be on Tubi. Hold on now. Let's take a look. Hey, that sounds very familiar, the long hair of death. It's on Tubi. All right. Kevin says Mario Bava has made some excellent giallos. Long Hair of Death, Fossum Horror. It's also on Tubas. It's also on the Tudubas. The Tubi-Dabba-Dubas. Radamas says the title font design on Black Sabbath is cool. They just don't treat lettering nice like that anymore in modern movies. No, they don't. You're correct, Radamas. Wayne says Creature from the Black Lagoon, Terror from Beyond, it the Terror from Beyond Space. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's a few 50s flicks, all right. Old Lake. Okay, that's not. How do you get Boris Karloff out of that? Boris Karloff had nothing to do with being the old lady in Black Sabbath. Okay. 8-Bit says I was expecting Village and the Children of the Damned on this list, as well as Day of the Trip. Okay, this is the first night. 8-Bit, calm down. Okay. Only the first night. We've got a few more Fridays to go. The 60s, for Christ's sake. Earth versus the Spiders. This Island Earth. Yes, those are other 50s films, Wayne. That is correct. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I think there could be a psychological type of issue going on there, Steve. Not quite. I'm not quite sure, but there's something happening with that. In any case, yeah, folks, the 60s is huge. It's going to be a 3-parter. It might be a 4-parter. And the 50s, definitely 3 or 4-parter, you know. So that's what's kind of going on there. There was something. Oh, yeah, I wanted to bring this to your attention, guys. And now this is not 60s, but I think you're going to want to check this out. One of the things we're going to check out, let's take a look here. As far as the science fiction horror, sci-fi horror book of the month club goes, is Day of the Triffids. Now, you guys know that, of course, there's the 1963 movie, the classic film. But I'm very pleased to say that on Kanopy, let me get back to Kanopy here. This is something that was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, there it is. From 1981. Okay, God, this thing is just so clunky. Oh, there we go. All right, let me put this back. Let me put this on the thing here. Hopefully it'll work. Yeah, there we go. Should be good. Fuck a duck. Okay, that did not work. Okay, there's the movie, which is great. You know, it is quite good. However, there is the 1981 series, which is quite good. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's broken up into 25 or 30 minute segments. Day of the Triffids. And this is possibly the most accurate adaptation of the John Wyndham novel. And we're going to be doing this for the Sci-Fi Horror Book of the Month Club. So it's on Kanopy. It's not on Tubi. Highly recommended, folks. Highly freaking recommended. This is very accurate to the novel, and it poses different questions that the movie just completely skips. I mean, and some really profound questions and problems of survival during the time of the Triffids. It's quite good. Highly recommended. It's on Kanopy. It ain't on Tubi. You may find it on YouTube. Possible. But check that out. And on YouTube, let's take a look, shall we? Shall we? Yeah, this thing is good. Oh, okay. Is that? Yeah, there we go. We're on here. Now, let's take a look. Survivors. Here we go. Now, this is 1970s, folks. Here we go. All right. Survivors is a 1975 series. It lasted for 3 seasons. There are freaking, I believe, 36 episodes. In other words, and each episode is about 50 minutes long. Essentially made for an hour-long slot. So you got 36 hours. And it has to do with a virus that rapidly spreads across the globe and wipes out most of the population. And so the concept of survivors is, what do the survivors do in order to survive? And I've been watching it. It's really quite interesting. I would say this, definitely the first season so far has been much more interesting because it's anarchy. They don't know what the hell's going on. They're trying to just live day to day. They haven't really established anything. But I'm going to drop this link into the chat in case anybody's interested. There we go. That is the whole list. It's all of it is on YouTube now. So you can check it out. And it's got Ian McCulloch, who, look, he was very popular in the 70s and 80s. And he was also, of course, in Lucio Fulci's Zombie, if you guys recall. He's really, I guess he's kind of the main star of Survivors. But it's really quite good. It's from 1975. The Triffids series was from 1981. I know these aren't 1960s things, but I recently found them, and they're definitely worthwhile. Let's put it that way. I mean, the Triffids, Day of the Triffids thing, I found much more accurate than the film. Now, there is another Day of the Triffids. You guys probably are aware of this. If we go to IMDb, I think there was a 90s version of Day of the Triffids. Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure. God, there's a 2009 version. Maybe that was it. Maybe it's 2009 version. Let's take a look. Yeah, this is the one. 2009 version of Day of the Triffids, which was interesting. Strangely enough, Eddie Izzard is in this version. Let's take a look. I want to see what they rate the other one. Oh, come on, you little bastards. There it is. Yeah, 7.3. Yeah, it's definitely should be higher rated than the 2009 version. This is much more accurate. I think it's very well done. I like the way they do the Triffids too. It's really cool. Don't get me wrong. I love the 1960s film, and we're going to cover the 1960s film. It's fantastic, The Day of the Triffids. But they just couldn't cover all of the material in the novel. It's just not going to happen when you're making one movie, that's like 90 minutes long. It ain't going to happen, folks. So fortunately, they did do BBC did a series in 1981. I highly recommend it. It is on Kanopy. So check it out, man. It's quite good indeed. Okay, we've had a few. Where the hell are we? There we go. All right. I was expecting Village and Children of the... Okay. We got that. Yes. Okay, but you're not 7 years old now, Steve. Okay. That's the thing. Wayne says he is referring to the second act of the anthology where the young girl takes the ring off. Yes, I know. That I don't know. Boris Karloff's not even involved with that. And that the dead woman looks nothing like him. I'm not quite sure what the hell. Don't blame Steve. She was okay. Oh, boy. I know. Day of the Triffids terrified me as a child, so it's always at the top of my list. It's fantastic. The movie is good. I think this series is great. Highly recommended. Not a bad movie. That's a great, excellent film. Well, you're looking at it. Right there, Dave James. Highly recommended the 1981 version. That's it. It is totally, yeah, I agree. 8-bit is much more like the novel. The movie, look, once again, you're going to make a 90-minute movie. You're going to cut out a lot of stuff. You're going to maybe add some weird shit, and they did. That's what happened. Day of the Truffles, says Eric. Day of the Tribbles. I recommend The Long Hair of Death. That's Barbara Steele in that one. Who Asked Holly says, I'm going to watch Survivor. Sounds great. It is excellent. Yeah, it's like, okay, let me put it this way. I found the first season to be very good. The second season, I'm not gonna give away anything. You just have to see for yourself. That's all there is to it. But I thought the first season was quite good. You're welcome, Holly. Eight-Bit says The Survivors is absolutely amazing too. Parents let me watch as a kid. Yeah, it's great, folks. If you want to see how fucked you can get during a pandemic that really is serious and that really can kill you, watch Survivors. Okay. Adrian James, hello there. Wayne says, smoking on my favorite herb and watching this live chat. I'm having a blast right now. Well, as long as you're having a blast, Wayne, that's what really matters. For Christ's sake. I have that on Blu-ray, says Adrian. Yo, Adrian. Which Blu-ray? Which movie? Survivors? Triffids? Wayne says, much like the original 50s science fiction classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers and the 1978 remake of the same movie. That's gonna be a sci-fi horror book of the month club. Wayne. The Body Snatchers, Jack Finney, because it is just a universal reality, a universal truth amongst humans, and that must be covered. Survivors got a lot of attention a few years ago because of the virus. Yes, another Terry Nation. Yep, you got him. Doctor Who. '90s version of Day of the Triffids is pretty awful. Yes, I concur. 8-Bit. It's not very good. I mean, God. I think the way that they did the Triffids in the 80s series, the one that you're looking at on the screen right now, highly recommended, folks. Check it out. It's only on Kanopy. Okay. Well, or it could be on other platforms. I don't know, but I watched it on Kanopy, commercial free. So that was quite nice. But of course, for all of us, they have to watch the movie Black Sabbath. The third act is the best one with Boris Karloff in it. The Verdict. It's great, too. Boris Karloff just kicks butt in that fucking horror anthology film. You guys got to admit it. Boris Karloff is still firing on all cylinders in 1968. Adrian says, I have the Day of the Triffids, and I have Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The original series, Adrian, because the original series is the best. If you guys have seen the original Hitchhiker's Guide BBC series, it is hilarious. They fucked up the movie royal, didn't they? Boy, did they just fucking fuck that movie up rad. Why not Week of the Triffids? Adrian says Blake 7 is coming to Blu-ray. Looking forward to getting that. That's excellent. I watch all of these movies on quote-unquote alternative platforms. Excellent, Holly. Well, hey, look, you get them where you can get them. Some of this shit is so obscure. You just got to find them where you can find them, folks. That's all there is to it. I mean, God, geez Louise. I was astounded that that somebody had uploaded all 36 episodes of Survivors on YouTube. Hilarious. That's quite nice indeed. All right, let's take a look. The 6-part series, indeed. All right, guys. All right. There you go. Well, we've cruised in. Oh, wait a second. That's the only way I could find Colossus. Well, of course, it is on archive.org, but it is also on alternative platforms. And it's true. So there you go. Holly, concurs. And that's the whole reason why I made that video in the first place, folks. Pardon me. I'm hiccuping. Okay. Yeah. That's the reason why I made that Colossus the Forbin conspiracy video in the first place. They freaking removed it from all rental platforms. They just within the space of a week, it was all gone from everywhere. And so if you gotta look, you got your freaking alternative platforms. If you could find it, you can find it. That's it is purely the fault of Universal. That's it. Universal owns it. They own the copyright is still there. It's still viable. They own it. It is their responsibility. If they don't want to fucking rent the film, then we are going to find alternative methods of watching it. And for me, I watched it on archive.org, which it is on, but I also ended up buying the DVD of Colossus because it's one of the great films. It is one of the great science fiction films of all time. There is no doubt about that. James Cameron ripped off Colossus the Forbin Project, and he ripped off Harlan Ellison's The Soldier to make Terminator. That is the facts, folks. That's the facts, Jack. Okay, that's all there is to it. He ripped the fuck out of both of those concepts. And because James Cameron is a tweezy little douchebag. That's all there is to it. Okay. The guy's, I don't know, vaguely talented. 8-Bit says, my best friend introduced his wife to Survivors during the pandemic and she became completely obsessed with it. It's definitely a product of its time. Highly recommended. Yeah, it is a product of its time. There's no doubt about it. When you watch it, folks, it's from the 1970s. Okay? But it picks up universal issues that would be still true today if there was really a bad pandemic, like an actual real pandemic that was really wiping out millions of people, as opposed to the actual cure, the vaccines that turned out to be wiping out more millions of people if you took it. Who asked Ollie says too close to home, so they had to wipe it out. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Who's your favorite Doctor Who? It's Tom Baker, man. It's only Tom Baker because I saw him in person when I was a teen, 1978. WhoCon 1, the first Doctor Who convention in the United States. Tom Baker arrived late and slightly drunk, and he was hilarious. He's great. Tom Baker is so damn funny. Virus, yes, of course. Tom Baker. It is the entire series, Adrian, 36 episodes. It's 36 hours long. If you want to watch a freaking series about the end of the world and how people try to survive in it, it's a pandemic. It's a real pandemic. It's a pandemic that really kills billions of people. Watch Survivors. It's on YouTube. Just look up Survivors. You'll see it. Tom Baker, of course, he's our favorite. He was also in The Young Ones. Remember, he was he was like the ship's captain or the pirate in The Young Ones. Oh my God. It's so hilarious. I love The Young Ones. Tom Baker. God, it seems to be universal. Now, look, you guys, I love some of the there were a couple of the earlier Doctor John Pertwee I liked a lot as well. I mean, you know, there's some other good doctors. Tom Baker just, and look, a lot of those Tom Baker episodes were really adolescent in nature. I mean, like, no, when you look back at it, like adolescent science fiction, the stuff you would enjoy as a preteen or maybe a teen, I guess. But Tom Baker is so freaking good. That's all there is to it. Renava says James Cameron would tell you that he had fever dreams, which became the inspiration for the Terminator. Yeah, he had fever dreams, all right. He had fever dreams watching The Outer Limits and freaking Colossus the Foreman Project. That guy is such a dick, too. I got to say, Radamas, he is such a dick. Look, you got to go back. You may have seen I did the Alien video about the whole controversy revolving around Ripley's muff being shown. I'm bringing you nothing but highbrow entertainment, folks. In any case, and I also did a follow-up called Aliens, of course, about the Cameron movie Aliens. And James Cameron is just a fucking virtue signaling sod. I swear to God, what a fucking dick. And hey, James, are you watching? Hello. 8-Bit says, hello, Andrew James, love like 7. BBC don't deserve a penny from the public these days. It's obvious they despise this country. Yes, I totally agree. 8-Bit, I feel so sad. I've seen the news. I know what's going on. It's so fucking infuriating. It is so infuriating what is going on. I don't know what to say. What else can I say? I don't know. I live here in the States. Things aren't that great either, but they're not that bad. Okay. But they want to make it that bad. Yeah, because they're a bunch of commie whores. That's why. Okay. Adrian says, I remember John Pertwee last series, and then Tom Baker came along. Yes, John Pertwee and Tom Baker are my 2 favorite doctors. Goat! Says 8-Bit. Goat! Yes. The sailor in the black. It's so fucking hilarious. If you guys haven't, I'm sorry, it's Blackadder. Well, but wasn't he? Okay, he wasn't in The Young Ones then. He was in Blackadder. I'm sorry, guys. It is just primo comedy. Oh my God, he's so fucking hilarious in Blackadder as the sailor. It's a classic. Just, oh my God. Great stuff. Blackadder. Rowan Atkinson. So much better than Bean. Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit, man. Blackadder was the shit. Tom Baker all the way. I like the original one in the series. And remember Peter Cushing. Yeah, he was in one of the movies, and I liked him. I like Peter Cushing as Doctor Who in the movies. Classic Doctor Who. Aliens is a good movie. I like that movie. And well, the original Alien is much better. Aliens is like Rambo in space. Let's just face it, folks. Let's face the facts right now. I still crack up over that Ripley Muff video. I'm trying to bring you the type of news that's important to the science fiction and horror world, 8-bit. And I hope that I'm doing that. And it's going to get better. Oh boy, is it going to get better, folks. I'm coming up with some doozies that may just get me kicked off the entire platform. I don't know. So far, so good, you know. But I'm one of those guys that likes pushing the envelope a lot. And I push it, and I push it. And I don't really give a shit either, you know. I've already been through all of it, folks. I don't really... I'm not going to let commies... Apex. Good one. That could be a slogan, Apex. I'm not letting commies ruin my entertainment. Thank you. Oh, that's gold. That's gold, Apex. I'll remember that. Okay. The next time I want to flog you, I'll remember that great line. Adrian says, I also remember the Tomorrow People and Sapphire and Steel. Camera is known to be an insufferable prick, but at least he's a mediocre filmmaker. Game over, man. Game over. Game over, dude. So you don't know France either. Sapphire and Steel is on YouTube. Left-Handed Jedi is here. Hello, Left-Handed Jedi. Welcome to the insanity. It's on ITVX as well. You're welcome, Apex. Radama says, H.P. Lovecraft's descriptions of the townspeople of Innsmouth and the town, all the stuff of nightmares. Thanks for introducing me to the stuff, Mike. You're welcome. Radama, yeah, that is the thing about the Shadow over Innsmouth, folks, which Radamus is talking about right here. This is absolute horror. Read Lovecraft's works. Read especially The Shadow over Innsmouth, The Horror at Red Hook, which will disturb the living shit out of you. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. I guarantee you, or I will pay you fucking $10. Okay? The horror of Red Hook, absolutely fucking. I mean, it's so good. But The Shadow over Innsmouth, Dagon, is fantastic. Of course, I don't know. There's so many in Lovecraft stories that are really disturbing, and they are the essence of horror. Unfortunately, in the film world, few people have been able to adapt those stories successfully. One of those directors that have been able to do at least a few successful adaptations is Stuart Gordon. Rest in peace, Stuart Gordon. Rest in peace. One of our greatest American filmmakers of all time, in my opinion. I look, beyond the Lovecraft adaptations, you should see you should watch Stuart Gordon's King of the Ants and Edmund, starring William Macy. That will disturb the living shit out of you. I guarantee you, because it's real stuff. Okay? It's there's nothing supernatural or sci-fi about it. Edmund and King of the Ants are just really disturbing Stuart Gordon films, you know, and he was one of our great American filmmakers, because if you're going to be a filmmaker, especially like somebody that's, you've got something of a budget where you're going to get some kind of theatrical release, you want to rip that fucking scab off and reveal the maggots under the flesh. That's what you want to do with horror. That's what Stuart Gordon did. Okay. And so, with Lovecraft, as far as I'm concerned, that was the same thing. He was able to describe things and present a world, a universe of terror in such a way that you were just like, holy fuck, and people, it's the whole thing about Lovecraft is like, some people think that some of his stuff was based upon real ancient texts. Well, they weren't. Lovecraft entirely made up the Necronomicon. It was there. It never existed. There is no Necronomicon, but Lovecraft cleverly made certain historical. He made historical references going back 1,000, 2,000 years to the creation of the Necronomicon, the writing of the Necronomicon by the mad Arab Abdul Azred. And that's what makes everything seem so real. And he's fucking great, man. That's why Lovecraft endures. And that's why Edgar Allan Poe endures, right? Edgar Allan Poe long before Lovecraft, right? Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm British, by the way, Adrian James. Indeed, H.G. Wells. Why does H.G. Wells endure? Because he wrote profound stuff that has actually carried through to today. Aldous Huxley, George Orwell, Jack Finney, Body Snatchers. All of these people endure because their stuff rings with truth. There is truth. There is profound truth. And I'm not saying that, look, it doesn't matter, like horror and science fiction, you don't have to talk about profound truths to be great. But if you want to be really scary and hit a nerve, yes, you do. You really do. And that's what getting back to Day of the Triffids and Survivors really does, is that it presents the end of the world. And some people just, they die on their knees. Some people get off their knees and they survive. And there's a whole lot of horror in surviving, but it's worth it because you get to breathe another day, So it's great. And we, look, we've always, I mentioned that because Adrian said, I'm British, by the way. We've always had such a great kinship. Obviously, the United States and the British, we are the collective, right? And we always have recognized the greatest British writers for me, science fiction and horror, obviously. There's no doubt about it, man. Are you kidding me? Good Lord. I won't get into it more. I won't get into it more now, because if we do, we're just going to start arguing and it's going to go on for another 2 hours. You have a woman's purse. There we go. Well, that's a new one by Werewolf. He's come in. Sapphire and Steel is another classic. Left-Handed Jedi says, hey, who? Dunwich Horror. Left-Handed Jedi just nailed the motherfucker right on the head. Folks, Dunwich Horror has not been credibly made into a film yet. That 1970s film with Dean Stockwell is just a piece of shit. It has nothing to do with the Dunwich Horror. If they made the Dunwich Horror into a properly adapted film, it would scare the living fuck out of you. Okay? They have not yet. They have not. Richard Stanley was slated to make a film, to make an adaptation of the Dunwich Horror after he did The Color Out of Space. Richard Stanley, I think, would be suited to do it, right? He would, much like Stuart Gordon. If you gave Stuart Gordon the budget to make the Dunwich Horror, I think that he would do it in a way that would be very effective. But good fucking Lord, you know, if you give it the reins to some fucking morons like Blumhouse, they are going to completely destroy it. Blumhouse is supposed to be making a fucking remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon, for fuck's sake. Fuck that. Okay? I mean, what the fuck? Ugh. It's so enraging. I just, you know, yeah. Look, if you want to know more about the way I feel about Blumhouse, watch some of my fucking earlier videos. Blumhouse largely sucks donkey dick. Okay? That's what I'm saying. You have a woman's hands? Ripley Muff is good, but it's no Tom Baker. Check out the movie The Unnameable. Yes, that's also on Tubi, folks. The Call of Cthulhu, another great one. Space 1999, the 70s. Oh, yeah. Reanimator is Lovecraft, yes. And Stuart Gordon did a... Look, you take a 10-page fucking story and you make it into a 90-minute film successfully. Stuart Gordon did that. Werewolf is... Oh, I think he's doing his morning imbibing. The Dunesville Horror. Are you talking about Dagon? Dagon, yeah. All right. Yeah, Dagon. Yep, that's it. All right. We got a few Brits. Folks, we're international, okay? We got Brits, we got Aussies. For Christ's sake, you know. The story mentioned H.P. Okay, well, the Dunwich Horror. Is that what you're talking about, Radamus? Highly recommended, the Dunwich Horror. And The Color Out of Space, another great one. Of course, The Shadow over Innsmouth we are going to cover. I'll tell you guys when I finish this. And the Blackadder, yeah. It is so hilarious. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, everybody else is taken, and he wanted that. He wanted people to take his stuff and expand it. You know, that's totally cool. That is totally freaking cool. August Derleth did a ton of Lovecraft mythos stories. Frank Belknap Long, all of them. Clark Ashton Smith, every one of those dudes, man. You know, and just because Lovecraft was one of the greatest American horror writers ever. right up there, as far as I'm concerned, neck and neck with Edgar Allan Poe, in my opinion. Folks, I love Poe. I think Poe is one of the greatest writers who ever lived in the world. However, when we talk about genre, when we talk about horror and fantasy, then we can say, yeah, Poe, Lovecraft, neck and neck. At the Mountains of Madness, yeah. Guillermo del Toro, for years, tried to do a film adaptation of At the Mountains of Madness. And believe it or not, even after all of the hundreds of millions of dollars he made for the studios, they turned him down. For $100 million budget, they said, no, we're not going to do it. They're doing it, Wayne. Yeah, Blumhouse is going to do it. Yeah, they're going to make the creature some kind of a fucking, transsexual midget or something. I don't know. See how it's my God. 8-bits. I dig Lovecraft so much. I've been collecting scenarios for the Call of Cthulhu RPG. Chaosium, yes. Excellent, 8-bit. Oh, yeah, of course. Love you. God, Jesus. You guys, look, you're much, typically speaking, I will admit this, obviously. The Brits are much more literate than Americans. That's just the reality, There was a chick that I was really attracted to. She was a Brit years ago. And she was visiting for a few weeks. She was visiting some friends of mine, right? She was pretty hot. I was attracted to her. And one night we ended up playing Scrabble. And she just kicked my fucking ass in Scrabble. And at that point, I knew that I was kind of like a moron. and that British people were so much more literate than Americans. Even though at that point I was like, I was a sci-fi horror fan. I was reading science fiction. I was reading Lovecraft, Poe, all that shit. She just fucking buried me. She freaking buried me. It was incredible. And no, I didn't nail that poon. Probably because of that. She was like, oh, God. This inferior American. He doesn't even know. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Check out the movie The Haunting of Morella. 3-foot transsexual midget. It's going to happen, Apex. You know it. I know it. Everybody fucking knows it. Okay? That's all there is to it. It's going to happen. Thank you, Radamus, for being here. For Christ's sake. Poe, Lovecraft, Tinky Winky. You love the Teletubbies. Well, there you go. Werewolf has shown his true stripes. And that's the Teletubbies, folks. Oh, yeah, they will. They're going to do a global warming pollution thing, Dave James. You're absolutely right. That's what they fucking do. And who cares? Because when they do it, it's going to be shit. People are going to forget about it, and they're going to continue to love the original Creature from the Black Lagoon from 1954. That's all there is to it. Because these people don't know their fucking heads from their asses. That's all there is. It just it time after time when they do these fucking remakes, like even Candyman from the 1980s, the Bernard Rose masterpiece from the 1980s. Then they fucking remake it in the 21st century, and it's a pile of shite. People forget about that shit, and they still revere the original adaptation, the Candyman from the 1980s. The Twilight Zone, right? Jordan, idiot fucking Peele, trying to make a fucking who like fancies himself another Rod Serling. Get the fuck out, you fucking lame ass twat. Ugh, it just makes me sick, really. But there is a movie called Forever Evil, 80s slasher. August Derleth created his own publishing company. Yeah, that's Arkham House. Yes, 8-bit, and I've got a lot of Arkham House. Well, I don't have a lot. I've got like 6 Arkham House books, my good fiends. And one of them is Marginalia, which is fucking awesome. I'm going to show you guys that. I'm going to be, as we move into October, we're going to get a little more Lovecraft. We're going to be doing some more love. We're going to take time out from this 60s, 50s type of thing because it's October, for fuck's sake. And I'm going to show you some of the Arkham House stuff I've got. I think you'll really dig it. I do enjoy the American sci-fi shows like the original Star Trek. Of course, you know, the original Star Trek is the freaking greatest, man. Yeah, Derleth created it exactly. That's he. Look, Derleth. I love August Derleth because of Arkham House. The guy, he's one of the greats. He's one of the. I don't know. I mean, it's not just Lovecraft. He's helped so many writers, but for genre literature, we owe a great debt of gratitude to August Derleth. Good night, Kevin. Have a good one. There he made the crow blasphemy. Yeah, good Lord. Yeah, they pissed all over it, and they shit on it, too. Yeah, but Radamus is just shit stories that are woke. Woke tards write these freaking stories. Unfortunately, you know, it's just garbage. That's how it is. All right, guys. Indeed. Well, that is it. That's the first installment of the of our look into the 1960s. Now, remember, on September the 13th, Friday the 13th, we are going to do the Sci-Fi Horror Book of the Month Club. That is going to be The Shadow over Innsmouth. I implore you all to read The Shadow over Innsmouth, or at least listen to it as an audiobook, and then watch Dagon, the Stuart Gordon film, and then if you want, the Japanese adaptation, which is called The Shadow over Innsmouth, which is on YouTube. Okay? Those are the two that I know of. And then we'll talk about them on Friday, September the 13th. Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, well, Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe pretty much blows away everybody, 8-bit. And a lot of Brits, too. I just got to say that. Because Edgar Allan Poe was a mutant. He was a mutant American. Okay? Thank you, too, Holly. I totally appreciate it. We're about to get there. You guys are not letting me go. The Japanese Innsmouth is really fucked up. Okay? That's all I got to say. It's kind of fucked up, folks. But everybody have a great weekend. And, well, it's a Labor Day weekend. So take care, and I will talk to you soon. Next week is going to be possibly a little bit different, but we'll get there. I'll see you Friday night.